Hey, this is Danielle from Black Business Boom, and I am excited because today I'm getting the opportunity to chat with mayoral candidates for the city of Nashville and learn more about their platform and their plans for Nashville. And so I am excited to have Fran Bush joining us today, one of three Black women that are running for mayor, and I'm excited to have all of them joining me at some point today to learn more about their platform. How are you, Fran?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you for having me on. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. Thank you for taking some time to chat with me. And, I want to just hop on in because we want to make sure that people get the information that they need. And so, my first question for you is as mayor, how do you plan to address some of the specific needs and concerns of the minority communities in Nashville?
Well, and we have a lot of things that we have to address. And one thing about me being a candidate for Nashville's hopefully next mayor is that I've been very intentional about the education side. You may have followed me, you may have been able to see all the things and all the hard work I had to do on the education side. And there's still a lot more work to do, especially for our black and brown kids. Majority of our black and brown kids, especially our male black and brown kids, are really at the bottom of the list right now. They're at the bottom of the token pole when it comes to academic outcomes. And I'm very, very concerned, as we all should be, about education, right? 40% of our budget goes towards our education, public education. We also have a problem with crime. We have a problem with crime. Crime is up in our community. And then, of course, our black businesses are not really getting all the support that they really, really need. It is climbing a little bit and it's inching up, but it needs to be more intentional. So my plan, if I'm your next mayor, is to make sure that I focus and be very intentional about getting the work done for our community and everyone. But I understand my community being an African American woman, a black woman.
Wonderful, wonderful. So let's talk a little bit about the violence because I think that that's definitely something that we've been hearing questions about, even as I've
Yeah.
been live today. The uptick in violence that we've seen over the last several years in Nashville, and any specific plans of action that you may have around addressing that violence, if you can share that with us.
Absolutely. I have a very in depth plan on addressing crime in our city. One of the things that I think we all are getting tired of, and what we see on television as far as the crime that we do see, it is amongst our black and brown young men between the ages of 14 and 26 years old. I don't know about you and your listeners, but I know I'm getting tired of seeing us, right? I have five African American boys that I've had to raise in this city and in this country. And it is very, very important to me to make sure that I can be able to carve out some of that crime. And if I'm your next mayor, I plan to do that. And I'm going to say something which is a big number. I plan to do that and cut it in half by 50% the first year if I'm in office. And the way I'm going to get that done is that I'm going to be very, very focused on our nonprofit organizations that are boots on the ground that can be able to touch more of our young people that are committing these crimes and want to be able to address these issues early on. So I want to be able to focus on those nonprofits, bring them to the table so I can see what type of funding they need. We need a lot more funding for our nonprofit organizations. Our nonprofit organizations are doing great jobs touching our young people, but they need more funding in order to touch more.
Love it. And that's absolutely true. We have folks that are boots on the ground. They're in the
Hmm.
communities. They're in the housing projects. They
Yes.
have the relationships. They
Hmm.
do need the funding and they need the support of government to be able to do that work. And they have the ability to do it in a way that we just don't see. We can't get from police. So I love that you mentioned that. Also, as we think about other things that we want to address in the city, as you mentioned, is small business. And I think we're starting to see some traction in the support of small businesses, but there's a lot more work that needs to be done on the economic development side with the city to enable and the growth of small businesses here in Nashville. So I would love to learn about your thoughts. I hear a lot of different thoughts of whether that be, the businesses need money, or they need contracts, or they need resources, or they need mentorship. And some are more easily accessible and available than others. So just curious to hear your thoughts around how Nashville, and how you as mayor would support the growth of small business owners in Nashville.
Yeah, that's a great question. And again, I can raise my hand. I'm an entrepreneur, so I understand small businesses very well. I have three child care academies in Nashville, and I'm really excited about the direction that it's going. But I will tell you, it was hard to be able to understand starting up a business, right? So if I'm elected as your next mayor, I want to make sure that we have a space, which there is in the mayor's office, and I want to utilize this more than ever to make sure that we're supporting more small businesses, more minority businesses, to be able to give them the support, give us the support that we need in order to drive the economy, right? We want to make sure that everybody deserves their financial wealth and be able to pass along to their children. So my goal is to make sure that we are connected, we are networking with the people that can help and be able to get us where we need to be more so. We know we're not a corporation, and I don't think none of us may not want to be a corporation. We just love our small businesses, right? Because it's very unique in what our talents are and what our skills are. So I want to make sure that I'm very intentional on making sure that we're moving the needle in Nashville when it comes to small businesses.
Wonderful, wonderful. So another hot topic in
Hmm.
Nashville, especially, is affordable housing, and
Yeah,
I think that we've all seen this growth happen. We've seen folks be displaced both
yeah.
by natural disasters and things of that sort, but a lot of folks being displaced due to just not being able to afford the neighborhoods that they've grown up in or that they work in. And so, can you tell me a little bit about your plans for ensuring that affordable housing becomes accessible for low income families, particularly within minority neighborhoods?
Absolutely. One of the things that I've seen that we have to, it's about urgency at this point about affordable housing. And when I tell you it's urgent, urgency has to be priority. And that's one of the things that's on the top of my list. Um, I'm really tired of the big developers coming into Nashville and not really paying their fair share of anything. And when they're buying up properties, we need to start now rezoning the land, government land that we own, any parcel that we own or we have that they have to pull a permit. They We need to be more. I will be more intentional about inclusionary zoning. I want to make sure that if a developer comes in and wants to be able to purchase land, they have to contribute a percentage of their housing for affordable housing, their building, and it's just the way it should be. And we can rezone everything we want to rezone. I can propose a zoning, and council can pass it, but we have to be very. This is about urgency about affordable housing. Now the other thing is I want to be able to talk to landlords and be able to incentivize them in apartment complexes on doing more income-based housing because now it's about income, right? Nashville is trickling up on paying people more, but of course the housing is going up. The housing is so expensive. If it's renting, if it's leasing, if it's ownership. So if I'm your next mayor, that's one of the things that I'm going to make sure that that's on top of my list is to make sure that we can address those type of things so we can be able to have more control. And that's what's happening. They're just coming in, and there's no type of accountability, and it's not enough people saying, "Hey, we talking about affordable housing, but what are we doing to really address affordable housing?" And that's poor leadership to me, and that's the reason why. I feel that I'm your best candidate because I understand the urgency. I have two sons that are in apartments right now. And let me tell you, they cash at me all the time to try to help pay their rent, and I get it. And it was time for them to go now. It was time for them to go. But I just understand how expensive it is. And so a
Yeah,
lot of us can relate and share the same stories.
absolutely. Yeah, it's huge, like you said, very urgent issue for
Hmm.
sure here in Nashville when folks can't afford to literally live. So really
Exactly.
important.
It
Last
is.
question for you, and I know this is your lane, is education, and so
Oh my goodness.
I think that there are definitely some opportunities, educational opportunities for growth, and really kind of closing the achievement gap in Nashville public schools. So I would love to hear about your plans and ways that you feel that we can do that.
Well, as you heard me talk about, I have three child care academies in Nashville. And one of the things that we all know and we do as parents, grandparents, that 0 to 5 is really the opportunity to make sure that our students are really getting the foundation they need so they can transition into into grade school. Now, the reading is the problem. We have to literacy is the number one thing. If kids cannot read, write, and they just will not be successful. So it's really important way before grade 3, the kids need to be reading on grade level and in grade 1. And so how I want to do it, because a lot of our students are still behind on literacy, even in 4th and 5th grade and beyond. And we're talking about high school students that are still not fluently reading. So that is troubling. And so, what I would like to see done again, we have to get more people into the schools, those nonprofit organizations, those that want to donate their time and volunteer. So, I want to create that type of base that we're gonna go in and not like rush in, but really almost that way to say, hey, school board, director of schools, here's some opportunity that we can support you, and this is how we can get it done. And we can get this job done by giving the children the support they need, because literacy is where we're having the biggest issue right now. When kids can't read, they're not successful. When kids can't read, they're not confident. When kids can't read, they get into trouble. And that's the reason why we're seeing the crime go up, because they just feel like they're not prepared for life. And we have to get them prepared for life and be confident.
I love it. Thank you so much, Fran.
Yeah,
I'm really excited to have had you on with me today and just to
really
get
great.
the message out. I think that in the conversations I've been having, everybody wants to do the best thing for Nashville, and I
Yeah,
really in their own way. And so this gives us the opportunity to really understand what that way is. And so that I really
absolutely.
want my audience to get the opportunity to learn, um, not necessarily say what the best way is for any of this. And I certainly am not the one to make that determination, but to at least understand what the different options are, what the different
Yeah,
viewpoints are, and especially those things that impact our communities in the ways that we can solve for those things. So I really appreciate you so much for joining me today, Fran. If
yeah.
folks want to learn more about your campaign and your platform, what is the best way for them to do that?
Absolutely. I have a website that you would absolutely enjoy and have fun looking at videos and really understanding who Fran Bush is. You would actually, after you go to my website, which is franbushformayor.com, after you get a chance to really take a deep dive, you will say, whoa, I love that Fran, because she really stands for everything, hopefully mostly everything that I stand for. And I just want the best for our community in Nashville. And I just want to be able to make that difference, just like I did on the school board. But it's so much more work to do in Nashville. And I feel like taking my talents and skills and leadership from education and put it into our city, that's just what I do. I'm good at what I do. I'm very intentional. I always have a plan, as you've heard me tell you. And it is just important that we get out and vote. And I just tell people, do your research. FranBushForMayor.com. And you can also go to I have an Instagram, same thing, Fran Bush for Mayor, and Facebook. So I really enjoyed this time. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you and your listeners.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Fran. I wish you all the best. And again, thank you for your time and giving us the opportunity to learn more about you and your platform.
Well,
And
thank you so much.
absolutely.